In a lively town called Nsukka, there lived a young girl named Adaeze. Adaeze was 10 years old and she lived with her parents and her younger brother Shima. On the outside, their house looked normal, but inside it was full of pain and fear. Adaeze's father, Mr. Okoro, was always angry. He shouts a lot and often beats Adaeze's mother, Mrs. Okoro. The sound of cry and shouting filled their house almost every night. Adaeze and Shima were very scared. They would hide under the bed, holding each other tightly, praying for the noise to stop. One night, the shouting was louder than ever. Adaeze peeped out from the bed and saw her father hitting her mother. She wanted to help, but was too scared. Suddenly, Mrs. Okoro managed to push Mr. Okoro away and ran to the children's room. She locked the door and hugged Adaeze and Shima, crying. "We have to leave this place," she whispered. "It's not safe here." That night, they quickly packed a few things and sneaked out of the house. They walked a long way until they reached the house of Mrs. Okoro's sister, Aunty Ifeoma. Aunty Ifeoma welcomed them with open arms and promised to keep them safe. Living with Aunty Ifeoma was much better. There were no more shouting and beating. Adaeze and Shima started to feel safe and happy again. They went to a new school and made new friends. But Adaeze couldn't forget the pain of the past. She worried about her father finding them and what he might do. One evening, they were having dinner. There was a loud knock on the door. Everyone froze. Adaeze's heart pounded in her chest. Was it her father? Aunty Ifeoma slowly went to the door and opened it. To their surprise, it was the police. "We are looking for Mrs. Okoro and her children," one of the officers said. "We have news about Mr. Okoro." Mrs. Okoro stepped forward nervously. The officer continued. "Mr. Okoro has been arrested. He won't be able to hurt you anymore." Everyone breathed a sign of relief. Adaeze felt a weight lift off her shoulders. They were finally free from the fear that haunted them. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Adaeze and her family began to rebuild their life. Mrs. Okoro got a job and Aunty Ifeoma helped take care of the children. Adaeze and Shima excelled in school and started to dream about the future. One sunny afternoon, as Adaeze was playing with her friends, she saw a stranger standing at the edge of the playground. He watched her closely. She felt a chill run down her spine. Who was this man? Why was he watching her? Adaeze decided to tell her mother about the man. Mrs. Okoro listened carefully and then reassured her. "Don't worry, my dear. We will talk to Aunty Ifeoma and the police. We will make sure we are safe here." But the next day, the man appeared again, this time closer to their house. Adaeze felt uneasy. Was this man connected to their past? What did he want from them? As night fell, Adaeze and her family gathered in the living room. Aunty Ifeoma decided it was time to call the police again. They needed to find out who this man was and why he was following them. The police arrived. And promised to keep an eye on the neighborhood. But Adaeze knew this was not the end. Pain of the past still lingered, and the shadow of fear was not easily banished. The police kept a close watch on Adaeze's neighborhood. For a few days, the mystery man didn't show up again. Adaeze started to feel a bit more at ease.
Shima, I think we are free now. That man didn't show up again.
But a sense of worry still lingered in the back of her mind. One evening, as the family was having dinner, the phone rang. Mrs. Okoro answered and her face turned pale as she listened. She hung up and turned to the family. That was the police. They found out who the man is. Adaeze and Shima looked at their mother anxiously. "Who is he?" Mama, Shima asked. Mrs. Okoro took a deep breath. "The man is one of your father's old friend. He has been looking for us, but the police didn't know why yet."
Oh my gosh.
Adaeze was very frightened.
What is it this time again?
Just as she finished speaking, there was a loud crash from the backyard. Everyone jumped up. Aunty Ifeoma whispered, "Stay here," and cautiously went to shake. Moments later, she returned looking worried. Everyone was afraid. Who is this again? Is it the man? And Aunty Ifeoma said, "Someone broke the back door window. We need to call the police again." Police arrived quickly and started to search the area. They found a note on the broken window. It reads, "You can't hide forever. I will find you." Fear spread through the family. The police assured them they would increase parole and keep a close watch, and the sense of safety they had felt was kind. Adaeze couldn't sleep. She kept worrying about the man and the notes. She knew they couldn't live in fear forever. The next morning, she decided to be brave and talk to her mother about a plan.
Mama, we can't keep running and hiding. We need to find out what this man wants and stop him.
Mrs. Okoro thought for a moment. "You are right, Adaeze. We need to be brave and face this together. We will talk to the police and see what we can do." Adaeze said this because he knows how the father can be. The father was a very wicked man. He treats the mother like a slave and treats his children as if they are not his children. And all of them were frightened because they don't want anything to do with the father again. The police agreed to set a trap to catch the man. They told the family to act normally and pretend they weren't aware of the danger. Officers in plain clothes would stay around the house, ready to catch the man if he shows up again. For a few days, nothing happened. Then one night, Adaeze heard a noise coming from the outside. She quietly woke her mother and they peeped through the window. The mysterious man was there, creeping towards the house. Adaeze's heart pounded as she watched the police officer moved in silently. Suddenly, the man tried to run, but the police were too weak. They caught him and brought him to the front of the house. Mrs. Okoro, Aunty Ifeoma, and the children watched as the man was handcuffed and taken away. Oh, what a relief. One of the officers came up to them.
"You are safe now. This man was trying to find you because Mr. Okoro asked him to. He wanted to make sure you don't testify against him in court."
Mrs. Okoro nodded, tears of relief in her eyes. "Thank you, officer. Now we can finally move on." The next few weeks were peaceful. The court case against Mr. Okoro went ahead without any more threats. He was sentenced to prison for a long time, and the family knew he wouldn't be able to hurt them again. Adaeze and Shima continued to thrive in school, and their mother found a better job. They moved to a new house in a new town, far from the pain of the past. Aunty Ifeoma stayed close, always ready to support them. As Adaeze grew older, she often thought back to the dark times they had endured, but she also remembered the strength and courage they found within themselves to overcome these challenges. The pain of the past have made them stronger and more united. In their new home, Adaeze found peace and happiness. She knew there that no matter what life threw at them, they would face it together. And so, with the shadow of the past behind them, Adaeze and her family looked forward to a bright and happy future. Hope you enjoyed the story. This is the end of the story. Please drop your comments, like, share, and follow me for more interesting stories like this. Thank you.